What does America have that other countries don't? The USA's right-hand turns on red lights at most intersection. So if you're turning onto the road you're stopped at, and are in the rightmost lane, and there's no traffic and no pedestrians, you can run onto the road without breaking the law. The USA also has representative climate zones for almost every climate zone on Earth except tropical rainforest. As a result, national parks and monuments will allow current and future generations of Americans and travelers from around the world to enjoy amazing natural beauties and wonders. Also Dollywood, a theme park dedicated to Dolly Parton. People call America a mixing pot, but it's actually a salad bowl. There's so many different things that you'll find here, and sometimes even a mixture of things. If you want the richest cultural diversity, you'll have to look for niche enclaves in other countries. Or you can just walk down any street in LA and see a Korean-Mexican fusion restaurant while speaking in French to your next door neighbor. I'm going to say a large number of fat people. I travel to various countries a couple times a year, and it just shocks me how healthy every country's people look. I decided to hop on Tinder, not one fat woman. Come back to the States, 95 fat women. I'm sure it's true for guys on Tinder, but I haven't looked. But it blows my mind just how overweight we are. Based on reading and viewing the news. Extreme ability to ignore logic. Guns per person. A strong will to control using law, punishment, and of course class action lawsuits. Deceitful electioneering and rigging the vote with gerrymandering, and applying procedural barriers to free and open elections. Diversity. The diversity in culture isn't just state to state but on every level. Some places have more diversity than others, but I haven't been to another country that can get anywhere near the diversity you see in LA or NYC. We may be more of a salad than a melting pot, but we make a damn good salad. We have a former head of state who shits himself in a diaper, apparently intentionally, is running away in the lead for his party's nomination for re-election despite advocating Nazism, while under indictment for stealing state secrets in attempts to overthrow the government. Beat that world! People in the US can go generations without employment and rent 2,000 square feet a house for 1/3 of their government-granted income and feed as many children as they can give birth to. Well, where else is this possible? That you can mostly shop online almost anywhere, as most merchants only ship to US addresses, which means you have to use a forwarding service if you need or want something from the US that does not ship overseas. People will not appreciate, but this is the #1 reason why the US is different to the world. The US is just so much more wealthy than the world. Even your poor neighborhoods are rich. They do not know this. Very few borders. Funny how Americans are freaking out because of one border with Mexico. Most countries have to deal with way more. That makes national security issues a completely different ballgame. Immense pharmaceutical and biological research. The US almost single-handedly supports the entire globe when it comes to scientific research as well as life science pharmaceutical drug development, slowly being saddled with more and more inflation and crippling debt and being made wage slaves to our job for pure survival while being told we're the freest country in the world. America has a university system that can be accessed by anyone. You might not get into an Ivy League, but there is a university somewhere that you can get into at any age. Despite all the trash it also churns out, American entertainment in its totality, TV, movies, sports, games, is far ahead of anyone else, even daring to claim second. The highest number of guns per capita amongst the general public, by a massive margin, and an insistence on doubling down on that after every shooting. Lifetime debt for things that should be free, lifetime debt for things that you want to own. Lifetime tax on things you own, but you really never do. Like 220 years of peaceful presidential transitions. For now anyway. We also have Gila monsters, and I don't think they have those in Mexico. A preponderance of people eager to tell you about the true nature of freedom and how where you come from is not as free as America. Tons of chemicals, preservative, food additives and dyes in the food that other countries have banned. Seriously, why is this? It is the headquarters of Reddit, a site containing a sub called r/ask Reddit, where this question gets asked about once a week. Central AC isn't exclusive to the US, but it sure is a lot more common here. Most countries use split units or window units. The Mississippi River and its connected waters is the greatest inland river system for transportation in the entire world. Daily mass school shootings. Medical bankruptcies. A population which actually wants to do away with democracy. Enough of an industrial base to turn the tide of World War II after Pearl Harbor happened. DC, Marvel, Disney, Universal, etc. America has a unique set of cultural, social, and political characteristics that distinguish it from other countries. School shootings. Toddlers shooting people with their parents' guns. Serious, Google the keywords toddler shoots. We all on the true answers are uncontroversial. Like, not even kidding, most of the answers and best are wrong. Our fast food is a fucking bomb. Every time I come back from working overseas I gain 10-15 pounds within months. A failing society due to the government not enforcing legislation that keeps up with the failing economy. Estimate of civilian firearms per 100 persons 120 for the US. Next closest is Falkland Islands with 62. Surprised no one has said Freedom, insert machine guns, bald eagle and flag background, yet percent of overweight people and they are offended when someone says being overweight is bad for health. The right to own not just one firearm but as many as you can buy. America? Guns 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 baby, skull, skull, skull. Poor people rooting for the rich to get tax breaks and keep wages low while they well are and stay poor. Guns, beautiful national parks, and a populace that's pretty good about wearing their seatbelts. Vast cultural diversity, unmatched tech innovation, Hollywood, the greatest military ever, NASA. Medical developed nations provide this service for free, a basic human right. Our national parks are extraordinary. So many kinds of terrain, ecosystems, natural wonders. These species. Mass shooting normalcy. Mass shooting apathy. Standard live shooter trainings at every job. People that think it's their God-given right to own as many firearms as they can afford. Internal navigable waterways. America is more than the rest of the world put together. Our national park system is pretty freaking great. Otherwise, nothing to be envious of. Tons of things. It's why America is one of the most sought-after countries to live in. A great national park system, crippling consumer debt and a declining life expectancy in a first-world country. The custom of using the name of a continent as if it were the name of a country. The freedom to buy assault rifles before you're old enough to buy a six-pack. Public toilets with dividers that don't go all the way down to the floor. Deep-fried butter. And totally unrelated but also a ton of cardiologists. Diversity and a can-do attitude. Most other countries are homogeneous. Two things: national parks system, handicap accessible infrastructure, air conditioning in private spaces. You will not find that in Europe. Yeah, this threat is gonna fuel our shit Americans for about a week. The highest deaths for American children is from guns. Go figure. More guns than people. Also, most school shootings for our country. Ice makers and air conditioners in the majority of living spaces. Free speech is a positive right is more rare than most realize. Big enough pipes to actually flush toilet paper in the toilet. We have a special purpose like Steve Martin in The Jerk. Bankruptcy from medical debt. Private for-profit prisons. North Dakota. South Dakota too. All the states really. The ability to travel to 100 countries without a visa. A 700-kilometer drive is a drive but not a long drive. The largest fresh water supply available, I believe. The Electoral College. No other democracy has this.